Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, and joining me as usual on the Sundays is Jason Cameron. Hey, Jason, how are you?
I am good. I am good. It is not the greatest of days today, but we did have a great day yesterday. So one good, one bad. That's pretty good.
Yeah, we've been pretty lucky with the weather. Today was definitely rainy and not that great, but so many football games on, that didn't feel too guilty about being on the couch, watching all the games. You mentioned just before we came on the air, it is crazy how much football games all happen at once on a Sunday. It is a little hard to follow sometimes.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to take in. Like once you begin to say to yourselves, okay, well, I'm just going to try to catch up on this game and this game and this game, and then it's like, wow, it's a lot of games. It's a lot of games. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Even just watching, some highlights, it can take an hour and a half, couple hours to, catch up on it. But I'm glad you did. And we've got lots to talk about. We're reached the 3-quarter mark in the NFL season, down into the last 4 games for everybody. And, a lot of very interesting division battles are shaping up. We're seeing the playoff picture really show how it's going to turn out. And, a lot of really good teams and a lot of really bad teams. Not a lot in the middle. What's out of this weekend? What kind of came out to the forefront for you with these teams?
Okay. One thing that did come out to the forefront was this. I think there's a league rule that you have to beat the Jets. Like, I think that's actually a thing. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I didn't actually realize this, and I should have, but I don't follow the Jets that much. Frank Gore is still playing.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Amazing, isn't it?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Does that mean he's been in the league for like 20 years?
Yeah. He's actually third all-time in rushing yards now. So, you don't think of Frank Gore as a Hall of Fame career, but when you've actually had that much longevity and to be the third all-time rushing leader in yardage, it's incredible. It's amazing. But he's in New York. No, you think you'd know that, but people don't want to follow that team. They're so bad, and you don't even know who's there.
Exactly. Like I didn't know. I'm sorry, Frank. I didn't know you were there. I didn't know you were locked up in purgatory in Jetsville. So
no.
I apologize for that. But hey, that is an amazing accomplishment by Frank Gore.
Yeah, that game was fun to watch. Obviously for local people here, Seahawks fans, 40-3 complete drubbing. Russell Wilson left the game after throwing 4 touchdowns. Geno Smith got to come in, and he was drafted by the Jets. He actually got to play some minutes today, and looked decent. Must have been fun for him to say, F you guys, I'm coming in and showing I'm a lot better off here in Seattle than I was in New York.
Yeah, man. Like, because number one, he got out. That's great. That's fantastic. And now he's on a winning squad. So for anybody, if you can get out of Jetsville, you got to get out of there. You got to get out.
Well, Jamal Adams made it out. He was able to make that move to Seattle, and it's worked out really well for him. He just set an NFL record today with his 8.5 sack. It has the most sacks ever by a DB in NFL history. So really good contribution, and he got the record against his former team too.
Yeah, man, great contribution. And also too, again, he did the right thing, just like anybody else that's had the opportunity to leave. They've left, and then all of a sudden, because it's kind of funny if you think about the people that have left the Jets team, they went immediately to winning squads. Jamal Adams went to the Seahawks. Le'Veon Bell went to the Chiefs. And then all of a sudden it was just like, it was downpour, raining, thunderclouds. Then all of a sudden, sun, rainbows. Oh, this is beautiful. I love my life now. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, it's so crazy that a guy can go from the outhouse to the penthouse like that and have just such a huge turnaround to his career. It's fantastic for those guys. The Jets just looked horrible again today. DK Metcalf had another big game, 6 catches, another touchdown. That was 10th of the season, really playing great. Chris Carson got a TD. He was 12 rushes for 76 yards, 3 catches for another 22. Will Dissly had a touchdown catch. David Moore had a TD catch. Freddie Swain, another TD. That was the most the Seahawks have scored all year, 40 points. They definitely ran it up a little bit, but they decided to give Russell the whole part of the third quarter and the whole fourth quarter off. They didn't want to embarrass him that bad, I guess. So that was nice of the Hawks to at least give the Jets a little bit of a chance.
Well, it's sportsmanlike, right? Because Pete Carroll's actually a nice guy. He's a real nice guy. That's why he said, "What's he Russ? You want to take some time out for a sec?" And Russ was like, "Well, I kind of would like to play," but coach was like, "No, I think we got this. I think we got this."
Yeah, 40-3, we got this. So yeah, it's good. You Seahawks don't blow out many teams, but it was nice to see them do that. We're about 25 minutes away from the Sunday nighter. Should be a fantastic matchup between the Steelers and the Bills. Steelers 11-1, had their first loss last week. Bills under Josh Allen, fantastic year, 9-3. Supposed to be really, really strong wins in the forecast, so might be more of a running game tonight than a passing game. This is the Steelers' third game in 12 days because of COVID cancellations, postponements, and stuff, so a little tough for them. The Bills are coming off a short week also, but not as intense as the Steelers have. And the Bills are 5-1 at home this year and played really, really well up in Orchard Park.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. But like you said, it's going to be a run-heavy game, especially if the winds really kick up. Because, trying to kick field goals and stuff, that's an adventure. It's just an adventure.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen there.
James Connor's coming back from an extended absence, so that's a big plus for the Steelers. I think if the Steelers had a running game last week, they probably could have kept themselves undefeated, but didn't really have much of a running game and took the first loss. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. We'll be able to see most of it when this is done. And the Monday nighter tomorrow night, it's an AFC North battle. The Ravens at 7-5 facing off against the Browns 9-3. They met in week 1, and the Ravens embarrassed the Browns 38-6. But the Browns have been 9-2 since, and beating a lot of crappy teams. But the last week they looked really great, and this should be a nice battle. It's always AFC North. I've always liked those battles. They're usually very, very good defensive, a lot of running, and it's usually really close.
Yeah, and I believe that the Baltimore will actually have a lot of their players able to play this game due to COVID and stuff, and I think a lot of players are going to be coming back to this game. So we're going to see what the Browns got for like a real top team.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to both games, Sunday night or Monday night. It's going to be fun. Let's turn to some of the action this afternoon. The Colts had a huge win. They're 9-4 now. They beat the Raiders 44-27. Jonathan Taylor was the biggest star in this game. 20 carries, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns. T.Y. Hilton got a couple touchdowns as well, 5 for 86. And Rivers looked great, 244 yards through the air. Huge win for the Colts, and they keep rolling. A lot of people said that Philip Rivers just couldn't do it anymore. He was not mobile enough. He's went to the Colts and, had a really, really fantastic year.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic year. Somewhat, I guess, maybe you could say even a career resurgence, because I don't think many people had the Colts doing as well as they had done this year, for sure. So hats off to the Colts. A great win, dominant win against the Raiders team.
Yeah. Another late game had the Chargers and the Falcons. Both teams have had some really heartbreaking losses this year and had a lot of hard troubles. It was the Falcons' turn to have another tough loss. They lost right at the gun. It was 20-17 as Michael Badgley hit a winning field goal in the last play of the game. The Chargers were coming off a 45-0 embarrassing loss against New England last week. And so nice for them to bounce back. Austin Eckler came back and had a really big game. 15 carries, 79 yards on the ground, and 9 catches for 67 through the air. And Keenan Allen, as usual, 9 catches, 52 yards, and a touchdown. He came into the game today tied with Davante Adams for the most catches in the NFL this season, and it's still looking good. But Herbert looked good. Chargers had another big win. They're still they're out of the playoffs, but a big win there.
Yeah, and also too, they finally managed to get a win where it was close. They didn't lose this game; they managed to win this game. So that's a great feather in the cap for this one. And then people need to understand that Keenan Allen definitely one of the best receivers in the game, and he's proving it again this season. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Packers had a big win. They moved into first in the NFC with a 31-24 victory over the Lions. Davante Adams had another big touchdown. Marquez Valdes-Scantling with a TD. Aaron Jones looked good. Jamal Williams looked great. Tonyan had another TD. Rodgers, just looking really strong, leading the league with touchdown passes, and the Packers are rolling along, looking like they're the front runner right now for that lone bye in the NFC. Yeah, the Packers are rolling, and they looked fantastic against the Lions. But the Lions, unfortunately, from the top down, I don't think they know what direction they're going in at this point in time. And then they need to figure that out for the upcoming season for sure. But the Packers look great. And Davante Adams just keeps rolling along with his partner in crime, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, definitely, yeah. The Cardinals had a big win over the Giants today. Giants had a big win against Seattle last week, but came back down to earth. Daniel Jones came back, but just really wasn't effective. Kyler Murray looked good, 244 yards through the air and a touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins, as usual, 9 catches, 136 yards. And Kenyon Drake had a big game, touchdown run. And Hassan Reddick had 5 sacks himself on Daniel Jones. Absolute monster game for their linebacker with the Cardinals. Huge win. Yeah, huge win. And that was a franchise record by Hassan Reddick. So him and the Giants quarterback there got to know each other very, very well during the course of this game. Really well. Yeah, I'm sure he was trash talking him quite a bit throughout. And it looked tough for Daniel Jones out there. He didn't have much time at all. He was laying on his back more than he was standing on his feet. Yes, he was. He was kind of looking at his offensive line saying, it'd be great if you guys just blocked somebody. Anybody, please. No kidding. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, tough. They needed to keep pace with Washington, but they didn't. So Washington's first in that NFC East there. Chicago had a big win today over Houston. A bit of a surprise. 36-7 victory for Chicago, and Trubisky looked good. He was 24 for 33, 267 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air. David Montgomery was huge on the ground, 11 carries for 113 yards and a touchdown. And he also had 3 catches for 42 yards through the air. And Allen Robinson, another huge game, 9 catches, 123 yards and a TD there. And the Bears are hanging around. They're 6-7. They still got a shot at the playoffs. We'll see what shakes down. Houston, another lost year, and Bill O'Brien. That's the Bill O'Brien factor there. Oh my God, is it ever the Bill O'Brien factor? But unfortunately for Deshaun, he had the same problem that Jacobs had for the Giants. Nobody was blocking anybody, and he was just getting sacked continually throughout the course of that game. Tough game for Watson. Yeah, brutal. Yeah, they were missing David Johnson, their running back. They had a guy named Greg Howell Jr. filling in, 11 carries for 42 yards, but don't know much about that kid. Chad Hansen was their top receiver, 7 catches for 56 yards. Kiki QT got another TD, but Houston, another lost season there. Not very good. Cowboys had a big win 30-7 over the Bengals. It was Andy Dalton's return and revenge game against the Bengals. That was good for him to be able to come back and say, hey, I still got it, and show them convincingly that they can win.
Yes. It was a great win by the Cowboys against the Bengals. CeeDee Lamb had a great game. And, it was just really good to see Dalton back on the field to play after suffering that concussion. So
Yeah, that was really good. Really nice. The Chiefs keep rolling, had another huge win. They wrapped up their 5th straight AFC West title and had a win 33-27. It was a pretty close game. Tua played well and had 316 yards, a couple TDs, but had a pick. Mahomes was a little uncharacteristic with 3 picks. He had only had 2 picks the entire season up till this game, but Chiefs had enough weapons to be able to take this win 33-27.
Well, this is what I'll say. The Dolphins definitely didn't give them the win, that's for sure. The Chiefs really had to earn it. But what the Chiefs showed is that they got that quick strike offense that can just put points on the board in a hurry.
Yeah.
In a hurry, man.
Yeah.
So, and then with that being something that he can always rely upon, that's how they can win those games. Because normally you're not going to win games when you have 3 interceptions.
No, not usually. No, it was really surprising. One of the interceptions went to Xavier Howard. That's his 9th INT for the Dolphins, and that leads the league. We talked about him last week, getting 8. He's got another one. Tyreek Hill had a TD run, 32 yards, and a TD catch, 44 yards, and looked great again. 2 touchdowns. Kelce had 8 catches, 136 yards. And Travis Kelce actually has an opportunity to lead the league in yardage as a tight end, and that's only been done once, I think, in history. And so, yeah, it'd be pretty miraculous. The Chiefs definitely are the class of the AFC, and keep rolling with a 5th straight title there, and that's pretty impressive.
No, that is super impressive, especially against like an up-and-coming Dolphins team that you could say for the future there's going to be some rivalry there for sure.
Yeah. Turning to the Broncos-Panthers game, Drew Lock had a career-high 4 touchdowns there and had a big 32-27 win over the Panthers. Deontay Spencer had a huge 83-yard punt return for a touchdown. KJ Hamler was the hero today. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns, 86 yards through the air. Patrick and Bennett both had touchdowns as well. And, it was a pretty great game for Denver.
Yeah, great game for Denver, great game for Drew Lock, and he looked fantastic. And his favorite receiver, obviously, was Hamler today, and he was definitely the recipient of some great balls thrown his way.
Yeah. The Eagles had a huge upset over the Saints today, really surprising. They finally benched Carson Wentz and went with Jalen Hurts. They didn't use Hurts huge amount, but he was able to get a touchdown pass, had his first TD pass of his career. And, very, very shocking that the 3-8-1 Eagles can beat the 10-2 Saints, but it happened.
It did happen. It was shocking because you'd think that even with the fact that, yes, the Saints don't have Drew Brees available, that Taysom Hill would just continue to keep rolling on as he has been. But they ran into that buzzsaw of an Eagles team. And so, sometimes these things can happen.
Miles Sanders was amazing today. He had 14 carries, 115 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Jalen Hurts' numbers were 17 for 30, 167 yards through the air, and 1 TD. But on the ground, he was 18 for 106. He's obviously a very amazing scrambling quarterback, and gives defenses some fits, I'm sure, not being able to cover him one way or the other.
Yeah, well, he just kind of emulated some of the great other running quarterbacks from Eagles history, like Michael Vick, Randall Cunningham, and he kind of delved into that, drew that up, and said, you know what, I'm just going to call my own number a couple of times. Should be great.
yeah, 18 carries. That's huge for quarterback. Taysom Hill's been doing stuff like that, but yeah, it was a pretty impressive debut and pretty cool to see. I don't know. They definitely can't get off of Carson Wentz because of his contract. So we'll see what they do. If he gets back in this year, but yeah, with such a huge win, I can't see them not going with Jalen next week.
No, I think they definitely go with him because I think they've seen what Carson Wentz is all about this year, and well, they're not liking that look. So no. I think Jalen gets definitely another start going into the next week.
Yeah. Taysom Hill had a really good game, 28 for 38, 291 yards, 2 touchdowns, also 33 yards on the ground. They didn't use Alvin Kamara too much on the ground, only 11 carries, 50 yards. He did get a TD there. 7 catches for 44 yards through the air. Michael Thomas had a big game, 8 catches, 84 yards. But as I said, yeah, the Eagles had the huge win. So, yeah, what else is there? The Titans had a huge blowout win against the Jags. Jags had their 12th loss in a row. We talked about Mike Glennon quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. He looked pretty good. He got benched today, threw a pick, and they benched him, put back Gardner Minshew in there. Derrick Henry was the beast of the weekend, I believe. 26 carries, 215 yards on the ground, and a couple of touchdowns. 4th 200-yard game in the last couple of seasons. 8th consecutive road game. 8th or 9th, it might be 9th now. 9th consecutive road game with 100-plus yards. They just keep showing graphics, and it's Barry Sanders and LT and Jim Brown and Derrick Henry. It's been incredible week after week. He's up against some of the best backs in the history of the game.
Yeah, because he's getting into that legendary status right now because of what he's able to accomplish. And it's been amazing to watch him work because, yes, he's a big man, and yes, he has all the power of the world, but, like you think the grind would eventually get to him. Doesn't seem to be doing anything. He actually seems to be getting stronger. Yeah. That's scary.
Yeah, it's incredible, yeah. In the last 2 seasons, as I said, he's got 4 200-yard games, and the rest of the whole entire NFL combined has only 4. He has the most ever 200-yard, 2-touchdown games in history with 4 now, and LT, Barry Sanders, and Jim Brown are second on the list with 3. And another incredible guy that they have, we've talked a lot about too, is A.J. Brown. Did you see his touchdown in the end zone with a one-hand grab today?
Miraculous one-handed catch. And it was just looked like he was picking it from picking an apple from a tree. That's what it looked like to me. Where I was just like, ooh, that is nice. That is nice. Man. Now, did he leave the game with an injury though?
I didn't see that. Hopefully not, right. But I did not see that.
Okay, because it seemed like in one of the plays he did pull up lame. So, and I did not see him again in that game. So I'm not sure exactly what his status is, but hopefully for the next week he'll be good to go.
Yeah,
but, and AJ Brown did have a great game. He had a great game.
Yeah. Yeah, it says he limped off the field. No updates so far. He had an ankle injury coming into this weekend. So maybe he aggravated it, but that's all I see on the report so far. So
okay. All right.
Yeah, you don't want to lose that weapon. Okay, let's get into a couple more of the games to finish it off. The Bucs went to 8-5 today. Tom Brady had a pretty great game. They are 8-5 now. Put the Vikings down to 6-7. Really amazing pass by Brady to Scotty Miller in stride in the end zone, 48 yards. Ronald Jones had a big game, TD run, 18 carries for 80 yards. Gronk only had 1 catch, 2 yards, but a touchdown. But Antonio Brown looked pretty good, 5 catches. Evans had 56 yards through the air with 3 catches. Bucs had too many weapons for the Vikings today.
Yeah. Hey, but just look at all the names you just mentioned. Like, Jesus, That receiving core is ridiculous, actually. If you look at that, it's like, wow, who do we cover? I don't know. It is actually insane the amount of weapons that Tom Brady has. So it's great that he has that many people to choose from and how to attack you. So it's like pick your poison with this team right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, and I didn't even mention Godwin, who's one of their probably they're one of their top receiver right now. So yeah, incredible. I guess the final game to talk about is the Washington football team moved to 6-7, first in that NFC East. Beat the 49ers 23-15. 49ers fell to 5-8. The tough part about this game was Alex Smith went out with a right leg injury, the same leg that he broke in two places and missed 2 seasons worth of football. Yeah, really holding my breath and sure hope that it's nothing serious there.
Yeah, I really do. I hope that that's nothing serious because his comeback story has been just really, really inspiring. Just really, really inspiring. And then also too, he's leading this Washington team right now to wins. Yeah. More wins than I thought that the Washington team would get. And also too, like we talked about this before we started. When is this team going to get a name? Like, are they going to do that? Like, is that going to be a thing, or are they just going to be known as Washington from now on in? Is that it? Washington.
Washington, yeah. I hope so. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's so hard to just keep saying the Washington football team, and yeah, it's dumb that they weren't able to come up with the name. They must have some strong, smart people outside Dan Snyder, the owner. There's got to be a few smart people in that football department that could come up with a name. But yeah, sure hope that they do for next season.
Yeah, that would be nice, Dan. Like, it'd be nice that if you let the people, do their job, get a real name for this team, and then so we can move on. We can move on from this and just get over it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. You can't have the Redskins anymore. Stop pouting and just pick another name. Pick another name.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Well, great week of football. Week 14 is only 2 games left to close out the week, and as I said, yeah, the playoff picture is really starting to take shape, and I'm excited. There's games actually next Saturday. We're getting to see games coming on the weekends now. We're only 3 weeks out of when the playoffs start, and as Christmas draws closer, the NFL gets always really exciting. And I think there's some really, really tough football teams this year that it's going to be a huge battle to win the Super Bowl.
It is going to be a big battle because of the situation that we're all caught up in, there's always that in the background along with your professional sports. So it's going to be different, but at least they're playing.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So that was fun. Nice to be able to watch so many games, and it was great. That Sunday nighter starts any minute here, and should be a great battle. I'll give you some updates, I'm sure, through the night. Why don't we turn to the NBA? The NBA preseason finally kicked off. Shortest offseason in team history or league history in any of the major sports here in North America. Only 71 days between the Lakers getting crowned champions and this preseason starting. There was some teams that have missed games since March. They didn't make the playoffs. The hiatus happened, and they didn't get to play any more games since. So I bet you they're happy to finally hit the court. I didn't see LeBron and AD in that Clippers-Lakers game to start off this preseason. A lot of guys are taking some load management time off. I couldn't believe how many guys I was seeing that were playing some minutes in some of these games. 15, 16, 17 guys were actually playing games, which it doesn't happen in the NBA. So it was it was an interesting weekend. I watched a bunch of the games, but I was disappointed how few stars played.
I know there's going to be a disappointment there, but at the same time, this has kind of been the trend over the last couple of years of stars just go, preseason, huh? Well, that's not the regular season, so I'll see you then. And usually when the preseason hits, it's, you're lucky if they play a quarter, maybe even two. Like they're not going to be playing all that much because the teams are looking at it as we can't risk them getting hurt in the preseason, so we're not going to try to play them all that much. Yeah. And then also, too, the best of the best, they're usually just like, oh, it's kind of like an Allen Iverson thing. You talk about practice? No, wait. We talk about preseason? Preseason? It's not that important for them because they know that they can turn it on when they need to.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. It's unfortunate. I feel bad. You don't feel bad for the fans because there's no fans anywhere. So, you're just having to flick it after the first quarter, just change it to the other game and watch the next starters play on the other team. And, I watched the Raptors game. They looked fun. You said you watched that too. They're missing Kyle Lowry, who they left back in Tampa. They said no need for him to come on this trip and play. So it gave a lot of other guys opportunities to play. And, they were down really badly early. But, the three ball got them to catch up and had a big convincing win.
Oh, yeah. No. All of a sudden, because when I was watching the game, I think at one point in time it was like almost like 28-3 or something. It was something ridiculous. So I'm like, what are they doing? Are you guys playing? Like, what the heck is going on? And then all of a sudden, the threes, it just started raining threes. It just started raining threes. I think I saw Pascal hit at least 4 threes in that game too, 4 to 5. And they looked fantastic. Once they got it rolling, once they started getting it going on, they look great. And Matt Thomas, for sure. Matt Thomas and the Flynn kid, the rookie, both of those guys, knockdown shooters, knockdown 3-pointers, for sure.
You're right. Yeah. Malachi Flynn, there's been a lot of talk that he's a really, really talented scorer and should be able to make it in this league. And he looked great in his first opportunity. And Matt Thomas, 16 points, led the way. Terrence Davis at 13. They looked great. There was Siakam, Van Vliet, Boucher, all contributed. I was impressed and happy to see. I noticed because the Raptors are homeless away from Toronto, they're down in Tampa. They will have to travel the most miles in the whole league in this first 37-game half schedule. They have figured it out that it's 35,514 kilometers that they're going to have to travel to these games. They play actually 20 games on the road and only 17 in Tampa Bay.
Wow. That is quite the commitment that they have to do to get these games played. But I understand the situation that they're in because, well, Canada has different rules than the U.S., clearly. So this is the sacrifice that they have to make. But at least Raptors fans, don't worry. It's not going to last forever, just for this season.
So they're playing Charlotte again tomorrow, back-to-backs with Charlotte. So, they've got a few games. I think they only have 3 preseason games, and then they start for real on Boxing Day. So the Clippers and the Lakers was the opening game of the preseason. I was interested to watch, and I hoped that LeBron and AD would play, but they didn't. But Kawhi and PG-13 did played pretty good. They only played 14 minutes each. Montrezl Harrell was the big story in this game, getting his revenge on his old LA team. He was able to get 13 points, 12 boards in limited time. And, he looked good. And the Lakers and the Clippers will be playing on the opening night, second game of the season. The Warriors play the Nets first, but that Clippers-Lakers game should be fun right off the bat to start the year.
No, that should be a great game to start us off right for this NBA season. And then also, too, I want to say that PG and Kawhi, those are 2 guys that actually need to do some work in the preseason so they can actually, I don't know, play together? Because that seemed to be an ongoing thing last year. So if they want some sort of continuity, some sort of, like chemistry to develop, like real chemistry now going forward with this team, that's got to be something that they got to do. They got to be on the court playing with each other a lot more this year than they did last year.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they were, supposed to go as far as the Western Conference Finals, and they didn't accomplish that. They fell much short of their goals and expectations, and they're going to have to prove it. They handed PG-13 a max contract this offseason a few days ago, and he's expected to step up. He didn't play that well in the bubble, and we'll see what this season shapes up to be. But I'm looking forward to the Battle of LA again. It's really cool that they scheduled the very first game to be the Warriors and the Nets, and KD getting to have some revenge against his Warrior teammates. And KD and Kyrie had their first games today. They both played really well in the first half. Kyrie had 18 points, 4 assists, and KD had 15 points, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds in 24 minutes. So, I guess not 24 minutes the first half, but he played a little bit in the second half. I thought they looked good. KD hadn't played in a couple of years. I think it was June the 10th. No, maybe it's been a year. June the 10th, 2019. He was out since, and Kyrie missed 52 games last year with shoulder problems. So, I thought they looked good to start. Didn't seem like they had been that rusty having such a long layoff.
Yeah, well, and then that's good. That's good for Nets fans because you kind of get a little bit worried about those are significant injuries. How are they going to look when they come back, especially with KD's Achilles tear? Because Achilles injuries are usually that can be really, really bad for any professional basketball player. You usually don't come back the same way as what you once were. But as you were telling me before, he came down on one of his first plays, drove the lane, had a dunk. That's you testing out your Achilles, and then that means, hey, man, I'm back. I'm here. I'm good. So It's good to see that these guys are playing well and playing up to speed as to what they're used to.
Yeah. There's 5 minutes left in that game, and it's 111-110 for the Wizards. Tight game. A lot of guys are playing. I think I'm looking down the list of guys that have played today, and they're already up to 16 players that have saw the court for the Nets today. So, it gets a little watered down. One of the things that I really love to see was Steph Curry was back with the Warriors. He was doing his usual antics before the game, shooting threes, went up to the stands, shot a couple of shots from the stands, made it. Then he came into the game and was shooting threes in rhythm, looked great, and it's really nice to see Steph back and seeming like, he hasn't missed his shot.
Yeah, you know what? And also, too, they're going to have to be actually leaning a lot more on Steph than on years prior because he doesn't have his running mate that unfortunately suffered that really, really bad injury, another Achilles tear for Klay Thompson, which I just really feel for him. Yeah. That's the second major injury after recovering from his knee injury that he already suffered from in 2019 in the playoffs. So I'm curious to see how Steph elevates his game to a certain point with this team because, they were looking as contenders if Klay was able to play. But now that he's not, let's see what they can do.
Yeah. Yeah, Wiggins played well. It's nice to see the Canadian finding a new home, and hopefully he'll get an opportunity there, and he can play pretty well. But I always love watching the Warriors play, and Klay Thompson's a huge loss. But hopefully some other guys can step up and play pretty good in his absence. They had a win over the Nuggets last night. They played 17 players in that game, so it went way down the depth chart. I liked watching the Mavs-Bucs game yesterday. That was Mavs winning 112-102. Giannis looked like he is not distracted by these contract talks. He played 25 minutes. He had 25 points and 10 rebounds. Chris Middleton played great. DJ Wilson, another really amazing game. And they played well, but Luka Doncic was able to lead the Mavs to a big win, even though he only played 16 minutes. He played really great. And 18 players played at least 6 minutes for the Mavs in this game. So, guys that I had never heard of were actually even taking the floor and even playing 6 minutes. It's pretty impressive.
Well, you know what? I think the teams are also, too, they're taking advantage of the fact that you're going to have carry more players because of all the COVID stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so they might as well figure out what they actually have in some of these guys that they don't normally get a chance to see. It's like, well, let's see what these guys can do, you know? Because a lot of these guys are, like we were talking about before, coming from the G League on two-way contracts just to supplement teams in the chance or in the most likelihood of some of these players getting COVID so that they can step onto the court and fill those positions. Yeah,
we'll see how it works salary cap wise. I know there's a lot of 10-day contracts that they've had over the years. I know that, with COVID, I think they're expanding the taxi squad. Those guys aren't allowed to practice with the main team just in case of a COVID outbreak. But we'll see how they're paid. If they're not playing games all the time with this G League team, are they going to be paid at an NBA salary level or a G League salary level? And we'll see, how they're able to work the cap into all that.
Yeah, it's going to be a very delicate balancing act for all of these teams going forward with having to carry so many more players than what they're used to.
I was really looking forward to seeing Chris Paul play. He didn't play yesterday. Devin Booker looked great in that game. I'm sure we'll see a little more of the same as the preseason wears on. I guess the biggest story so far is James Harden is on a bit of a holdout, looking for a trade. He, has expanded his list a little bit. It's going to be very, very interesting if and when this trade happens. I watched that Rockets game, and I actually really enjoyed it a lot because John Wall and Boogie Cousins both got to play. Have both missed the last 2 years almost fully with injuries, and they were Kentucky teammates, and so it was really kind of cool to see them reunited, and they played really, really well. Both Wall had 13 points, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds in 19 minutes, and Boogie was out there hitting threes, looking great, moving well. He has missed a couple years. He had 14 points, 5 rebounds in only 15 minutes, but looked great out there, and it was fun to see. It's nice when guys can get reunited back from their college days.
Of course, it's a beautiful thing to see, and then also too, it sounds to me like they were actually able to move the ball, like run an offense, as opposed to run the James Harden offense of, well, we're just gonna give it to James and watch him work.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, exactly. Yeah, it's nice that they were sharing the ball a bit there, and that doesn't happen always with when Harden's on the floor. So yeah, maybe some guys won't be sad to see him go. He's a prolific scorer, has led the league in scoring last 3 years, but definitely is usually at the very bottom of the whole league on assists. So it's not a guy that likes sharing the ball much.
No, well, especially when the offense is kind of geared around what he does.
Yeah.
So he has to have the ball in his hands, right? Like he has to have the ball in his hands. But at the same time, that doesn't really give a chance for anybody else to get kind of into the flow of the offense because, well, he has the ball.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll ever be able to create an NBA type league with 2 balls, and then guys can actually not worry about hogging it so much because there's been a few guys that it's hard to play with some of these guys that don't want to ever give the ball up.
James Harden wouldn't be for that league. No, man, 1 ball, my ball.
It's fun. I'm glad NBA's back. I can't believe how quickly it only felt like a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that the season ended. But 71 days, and they're right back at it. Great to see it back. I'm not, enthralled by the preseason, but December 22nd, we're only 9 days away from the opening night.
Yeah, I can't wait. I am super looking forward to it. Yes, it's been like it just feels like we just saw the Lakers won. Like literally, wasn't that just like the other day?
Yeah.
And I understand that it is a very quick turnover, but I'm grateful that they're doing it, and I'm grateful that we even get as many games as we're getting for this season. I didn't think we'd even get this many games. So
No, yeah, very true. Okay, well, I want to turn to UFC. First, though, I want to mention our partners and sponsors. Anchor FM has been a great partner and sponsor for Complete Sports Media. Fantastic at posting on multiple podcast platforms, and they call themselves the easiest place to make a podcast. So if you want to do something similar to what we're doing here, just go to Anchor FM, and it's easy to follow the instructions, and you'll be able to, have a lot of fun like Jason and I have every week. We've got Verbero. They are a hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And they like to highlight the V350 stick at 350 grams, lightest stick on the market, explosive, impress your friends, grab a stick and take it out there and score lots of goals and impress the whole entire family. There won't be anybody in the stands, but you'll be able to tell a lot of stories when you get home and chirp the guys in the locker room with a V350 stick from Verbero. We also have a great sponsor and partner in Pampas and Possibilities. They design and sell dried florals, floral arrangements, and do installations. They're designers of handmade, curated things with West Coast vibes at reasonable prices. And finally, Forever Living. They are the aloe vera company, and they grow and manufacture aloe vera-based products for health and beauty. And you just go to CompleteSportsMedia.com. Lots of details there on how you can purchase products at discounted prices. And we appreciate our partners and sponsors. Thanks so much for all your support. Okay, well, UFC was, the last numbered UFC of the year and probably the best card of the year. Absolutely amazing title fight last night, the best flyweight fight, I think, in history. And I'm so excited that the UFC was able to put on such a great card to close out the year for the numbered UFC cards.
yeah, I was overjoyed by what I saw on Saturday night. Every fight was just absolutely fantastic. It blew my mind just how good some of these fights were, especially this flyweight contest, which was I didn't know how Moreno would deal with Figueiredo constantly walking him down like the Terminator. But maybe I should have known better that this man has that Mexican warrior spirit that never says die, I won't wilt, and I won't yield. Yeah. And I feel actually very comfortable in this fire. This is just because this is where I live. Yeah. It was an absolute goddamn war. It was awesome. Amazing.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely fantastic, and it was the shortest turnaround title fight in history by a huge margin. I think 56 days was the quickest turnaround before that. And Figueiredo had a really great performance against Alex Perez 3 weeks ago. Was able to get him in a guillotine choke 2 minutes. Brandon Moreno beat Brandon Royval on the exact same card. And they both called each other out, talked about it, boom, signed the deal. 3 weeks later, had to make this fight happen, UFC 256. The thing that came to light at the end of the night was that Figueiredo had such a hard time making that second weight cut that he ended up in the hospital till 2 a.m. in the morning and was very compromised with this weight cut coming into last night's event. That shocked me and surprised me. And I don't know, maybe he won't be able to be at this weight class very long if he's having this much trouble.
Yeah, and then also too, let's be honest, like to do that kind of weight cut, because he cuts a lot of weight because he's actually a very big guy for that weight class. Like he's probably the biggest guy for that weight class. And once you actually have to go through the weight cut again in 3 weeks, like that's ridiculous, man. It really is. It's ridiculous. So just knowing that that's what he had to fight through, on top of an opponent of that magnitude who brought his absolute best, that's amazing that he was able to fight as well as he did.
Yeah.
It boggles my mind. It really does.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen much of the talk yet, but he basically did lose that fight because of the 1 point penalty that he took for the low blow kick. That was Jason Herzog came over and gave him a point deduction penalty. Do you think he should have been deducted that point? He wasn't, it wasn't a second offense. It wasn't something that, he had been warned about before. Usually you don't see a point deducted right away off a first time low blow strike, but what do you think?
That's a tough one, right? Because he already had the eye poke earlier on in the fight, all right? So obviously he was warned about that. But the kick that Moreno received to the groin, that was bad. That was really, it was really, really bad. You know exactly how hard that man strikes. And with the teep kick directly to the groin, I honestly thought, you know what, because in the ruling, it actually kind of states you have to take into consideration how much compromise the fighter is going to be going forward in the fight as well. And with a strike of that magnitude, that hard, Herzog probably saw it in his mind. He's actually going to be very compromised now going forward in this fight. You got to take the point. Yeah. And also, too, I'll say this. Figueiredo was very much a professional, a pro. When he answered that question from Joe Rogan at the end of the fight, he said the ref had to do his job, and he did his job.
Yeah.
And then it was my job to, continue to fight on and win the fight. And with that fight in mind, I was more than happy with the draw. I didn't think anybody won that fight. I really didn't, because I couldn't pick it.
Yeah, I had the same troubles, and so did Daniel Cormier and Joe Rogan. They were both, unsure of who had won that fight when the final bell happened. It was crazy that it was a draw like that. Two judges had it a draw, and one judge had 47-46 for Figueiredo, but a majority draw. Keeps his belt. I guess this automatically should be a rematch, though, shouldn't it be? Does it seem like a complete no-brainer?
It is a complete no-brainer. If Dana White says that's the greatest flyweight fight I've ever seen, and it was inconclusive on who won, you run it back. It's real simple. You make sure that these guys now have more than enough time to recover from whatever injuries that they may have. And then you have this fight again sometime in the spring, April or May, and we run it back. And we make sure that everybody is as healthy as they possibly could be so that we get the best out of both fighters for the next fight.
Both Rogan and DC seem to notice the big hematoma on Moreno's left arm. Notice he was throwing it less. Moreno ended up saying he had a problem with his shoulder. Something happened there. So I'm sure, tomorrow or over the next coming days, we're going to find out what that injury was. Maybe a little more information on Figueiredo. But, man, both guys, so compromised health-wise, but still just put on just an incredible war. And again, you and I have talked about this quite a bit. I can't believe that UFC ever considered getting rid of the flyweights. It's such entertaining fights. These guys are so quick, so great at transitions, so great at so many aspects of mixed martial arts that I just love it. And that last night was a real showcase on how great these guys can fight. Yeah,
because, yes, Dana, they're little guys. But little guys can fight their asses off. Clearly, we saw it. We've seen it. And, I think a lot of that had to do with the conflict that Dana had with Demetrius Johnson on why he wanted to get rid of the whole division and everything else, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, clearer heads prevail, because you can't just get rid of great fighters like that. And this division provides great fighters.
Yeah.
Great fighters.
Yeah.
And we saw Saturday night.
Three incredible main events 3 weeks apart, or two incredible main events 2 weeks apart, 3 weeks apart, and yeah, I loved it, and yeah, I can't wait till they, get back at it. Yeah, the Moreno was just fantastic, and you're right, that Mexican warrior spirit was really prominent there. It was only the fourth draw in UFC championship history, the last one being um, Tyron Woodley and Wonderboy Thompson. They both got 50K bonus for the fight of the night. And as I mentioned earlier, the last quickest between title fights in the same division was 56 days. And that was Matt Hughes, who fought BJ Penn, won the title, and then fought GSP and lost the title. And then Ronda Rousey beat Misha Tate and Sarah McMahon in really quick fashion both times. And that was 56 days. And this one was only 21 days apart. So, yeah, a lot of fun. That main event was great, but a lot of other really amazing fights on this card. The co-main event had Tony Ferguson and Charles Oliveira. Tony Ferguson came in ranked number 3. Oliveira ranked number 7 in the lightweight division. Ferguson coming off a really tough 5-round battle and loss against Justin Gaethje, but Ferguson has been touted as one of the greatest lightweight fighters in the world for many, many, many years, and was always supposed to fight Khabib and never happened. But Charles Oliveira was the man this night. Holy cow, did he ever come in and dominate an amazing, good fighter in Tony Ferguson and really vaulted himself up the rankings. Should have an opportunity at a title shot quite soon if he can keep this amazing performance up.
It was amazing. It was amazing. How about this? We've never seen anybody do this to Tony Ferguson ever.
No.
Period. He was technically superior to Tony Ferguson in every aspect of the fight game. Every single aspect.
Yeah.
There was nothing Ferguson could do to change the trajectory of that fight. No. There was absolutely nothing he could do. Especially in the first, that armbar, normal people tap to that. Yeah. Normal individuals.
No kidding. I can't believe he didn't tap. His arm was completely going backwards. It was shocking that he didn't tap. Luckily, the bell rung for him. If the bell didn't ring, he would have had to tap or his arm was broken for sure.
Well, we actually don't know. His arm may have been broken. Yeah. Right? True. Because that was ridiculous. But I love Oliveira saying, no, he's a champion. I knew he wasn't going to tap. So it's like, oh, so you knew you really had to break it. Okay, that's kind of cool. Yeah. Like, I just can't believe just how dominant Oliveira was. And I believe since he's been in the lightweight division now, I think he's like 9-1. Yeah. And this is the only fight that he hasn't finished in like the last 8, which is just ridiculous. Yeah. I kind of forgot about the guy. I kind of forgot about him.
That's true. Yeah, no, there's so many killers in that division that, it's been, you don't think of him as, one of the top elite guys, but to be able to dominate El Cucuy like that in every facet, almost had the victory right away with that armbar. And just to be able to control him with takedowns, transitions, dominating on the feet, 30-26, it could have been, speculating all 3 rounds could have been 10-8. It was just unbelievable. But you do have to give it to Tony Ferguson for not tapping and just being a warrior and lasting that 15 minutes with the guy. I worried that Tony Ferguson took too much abuse against Justin Gaethje and might never ever be the same fighter. I've seen that unfortunately in history when a guy takes that much abuse, sometimes it's very hard to come back. I don't think it was anything that Tony did wrong. It was just something that Charles Oliveira did right and has reached a very elite level in his mixed martial arts abilities now. Yeah,
Tony didn't do anything wrong in this fight. It's just that Charles Oliveira is now that good. Yeah. He is just that good now. You're just seeing like a fighter come into his prime, come into his peak self right now. Yeah. And that's what he did in this fight. And it was an amazing thing to see a man dismantle a caliber fighter like Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, it was super impressive and incredible. Yeah, I loved that fight. Two really good fights to finish the night there. There was a really great women's strawweight battle between Mackenzie Dern and Verna Jandaroba. And these are two very tough girls. I was super impressed with both of them. We talked about Mackenzie Dern recently. She had went to Jason Perillo's camp and seemed to get a resurgence and seemed to really be able to get her striking to an elite ability. And she was fantastic again in this night. And both girls put on a really great performance. It was a tough battle.
No, yeah, both of these ladies look great, and Dern her stand-up looked way better than her last performance. It looked like her hands were flowing a lot nicer. And at first, I thought Dern, I thought she had this fight in the bag because Jandaroba just didn't look that solid in the first round. But then she came back in the second. She really did. The fight was up for grabs in the third.
Yep.
And Dern still pulled it out even after suffering that hard knee to the nose, breaking her nose.
Yeah.
She figured out it was broken, even though her coach said it's nothing to worry about. Didn't hear that. But a great win by Dern. She knew that she had to turn it on in the third, and she did, and that's what got her to the victory.
Yeah. Yeah, it was actually cool that they did go in to show the corner cam and see her mention to Perillo that her nose broken. And he's like, "No, it's not. You're good. You're good." Like, what are you talking about? You're good. And she said, "Yeah, I knew he was lying to me, but he was just, hyping me up, getting me back out there." I'm glad, even with a broken nose, she was able to come out and get a big win. And she's 10-1. Moving right up the ranks in that strawweight division. Should be up for some really big battles coming up in 2021 for her. Okay, well, this middleweight fight that happened before this that women's fight was hilarious, fun, incredible. There's so many adjectives you can utilize for this fight. Kevin Holland, fifth win of the year, all since May, and he had an incredible knockout that we haven't seen really. Being on the ground and being able to knock out a guy in the fashion that he did, fantastic finish. And something I'm going to remember for a really, really long time.
He talks a bunch of nonsense. Like he's actually, I've never seen it before where the man is a comedian in the cage as he's like striking and punching you in the face at the same time. So you're like, I'm extremely entertained, but he's actually kind of hurting. And to that point, that's where he was able to push off with his legs, gain a little space, and punch him from his back. I ain't never seen that either. Oh. Stunned Jacare, he got up, folded Jacare over like a lawn chair, and began to just swing. Like, I've never seen that before. Wow. I've never seen that before. I'll probably never see it again. It was an amazing win. It was a shocking win. Yeah. Shocking how he did that.
Incredible. Yeah, to just, see Jacare on his knees and, getting the position. And then all of a sudden, Holland went to work and started hitting him, hit him on the temple, sort of stunned Jacare a little bit, and then just started hitting him. And then you just saw Jacare going back, but he was on his knees. So he could only go back so far. Like you say, lawn chair. It was a perfect example of that. And all of a sudden you're like, holy cow, I think he knocked him out. Wow. Oh my God. That was just so impressive. I can't believe the power. He's so lanky, but just has incredible power in his fist.
Yeah. Like he's just able to whip around those long limbs and just generate so much speed and power. And his accuracy is obviously always on point. Last time that Jacare had a loss like this, Gegard Mousasi, Dream, long time ago, he suffered an up kick, and I believe he got knocked out and just laid there out cold on top of Mousasi. Yeah. That was the last time that something of that nature's happened. But what Holland did, was even more impressive because it wasn't a kick. It was a punch. Yeah. Punched him, which is just ridiculous because you're not supposed to be able to generate that much power from your back with a punch.
No, that was absolutely incredible. And he's he's had just quite the run this year. As I said, since May 16th, he's had 5 wins. He beat Anthony Hernandez, Joaquin Buckley, Darren Stewart, Charles Ontiveros, and Ronaldo Souza, Jacare. And could get fighter of the year. 5 incredible wins in 7 months. And he actually kind of talked his way out of an initial contract earlier on the Dana White Contender Series. Dana said, this guy's a bit of a clown, not really enjoying his trash talk. He's a good fighter, but I don't think he's ready for the UFC. Then they had to make a last-minute replacement, called him up and said, hey, can you fight? And he said, yeah. And ever since, he's just, as soon as they call, they don't even say anything. It's just, he sees the UFC. Oh yeah, I'm in. Do it. And he's coming in and he's knocking out these amazing guys. And I don't know about his antics. He makes you laugh a little bit. But I just hope he just continues to show his incredible skill and the ability to knock guys out and continues on and has he actually wants to fight next weekend. He called out Khamzat Chimaev, and I'm not sure, if they can put this fight together for next Saturday, but it would be incredible if they could.
That would be incredible. And also, too, I do want to say this. I understand what Dana is saying about, like, how he is, but fighters actually, to a certain extent, have to be true to themselves. Yeah. If that's how he fights, and if that's gives him the best version of himself on how to fight, then that's what he does. And I got to be honest, I'm incredibly entertained. I think at one point in time, he said, Jacare, you got a booger on your face. You might want to get that off. Might want to get that off your face. And Jacare said, oh, well, thank you. And he did. And then he knocked him out. All right? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm trying to look real quickly, see if they've been able to put something together. Chimaev was supposed to fight at this at that card December 19th. He did get COVID, but it was about 3 weeks ago. Okay. He said he was still ready to fight, but it was canceled. But nothing so far that I see for that. But let's hope I can make an announcement this week that he's fighting for his 6th time. His nickname is the Trailblazer, but Dana White's calling him Big Mouth, and that Big Mouth has got him into the UFC, got himself 5 fight win streak, another 50K there, and I think a lot of people will be clamoring to see Kevin Holland. Entertainment factor, off the charts, and it was fun. I was glad he was part of this card, and he fought so well again.
Yeah, I was super glad that he was part of this card. And then, the man can talk, but guess what? He can also back it up, because nobody does that to Jacare Souza. Nobody, but he did. So
only the third fighter in modern history with 5 wins in a calendar year. Roger Huerta, 2002, and Neil Magny in 2014 were able to get 5 wins in a calendar year. And I think he's got 5 wins. As I said, Adesanya's got 9 wins in that same division, longest streak. And Marvin Vettori, who we talked about last week, has 4 wins in that division. 3 incredible fighters that are going places. So fun. Yeah, it was a blast. To start off the night, there was a heavyweight fight. Start off the night on the main card, heavyweight battle between Junior Dos Santos, former title holder, and the French fighter Cyril Gane. Only 6-0 in his career, but looks like a very solid prospect in the heavyweight division. Was able to land a huge elbow to the side of Junior Santos's head and put him down. The referee jumped in and stopped the fight, and a really nice performance by this guy. He waited until he had this opportunity and then took out the former champ.
Yeah, he did, and he did it with great distance management. and he fought at his style, Muay Thai style. Dos Santos needed to close distance so he could get into a boxing range, and he just literally was not able to do any of that throughout the course of this fight, and that's what led him to the loss, because he just got picked apart on his feet. He really did. And there was a little bit of controversy there with where the elbow was placed. I thought from the replay that it was placed in still a legal position, which was not the back of the head, kind of close, but still the back of the ear.
Yep.
And then that's what the ref saw as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a little bit of controversy, but once we watched the replay a bunch of times, it looked like, he was catching him not in the back of the head, just to the side. And, he would put him down. Cigano, Junior Dos Santos was ranked number 7 going into this. And, this is a fourth. This is a possibility for Cyril Game to be ranked top 10 coming into this week. And it was a nice performance by him. I didn't know too much about him, but he looked great coming into this fight here. Prelim card had some really great battles. Leading the way was the featherweight battle between Cub Swanson and Daniel Pineda. And Cub Swanson came back from a bit of a hiatus and got a huge victory, 1 minute and 52 seconds into the second round. Great performance by Cub.
Great performance. Pineda came in a little too overconfident, I believe. He was clearly the bigger man. That man is thick. All right. Even Cub Swanson said that in the post-fight, that he was a lot bigger than what I thought he would be. And so he was really leading in on those leg kicks, really attacking Cub's lead leg. Same lead leg that he actually had surgery on to repair, I think, problem with his knee. I think it was a torn ACL or something like that. So he was beginning to get compromised. But again, like I said, he was overconfident and he wasn't respecting Cub's power. Cub started to tag him a couple more times in that first, wobbled him a bit in the first, and then the second, still wasn't respecting the power, which he should have. And that's what took him out. Uppercut, right hook, out cold. That's all she wrote.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I love Cub Swanson. Always have. Nice to see him come back from a serious injury, and still got the power, still got the ability to win in the featherweight division. Even though, he was definitely the smaller fighter, but maybe used a bit of the speed advantage to help him get the win. The lightweight battle between Renato Moicano and Rafael Fiziev was fun. It was hell of a really great first round, and I can't believe the power that Fiziev ends up having. He is an incredibly powerful dude for this lightweight division.
He's a world-class striker, clearly. To the point where if anybody else is watching that fight, don't stand with him. Take him to the ground. Do not stand with this guy. Seriously, don't even consider it. You take him to the ground as quickly as possible, because some of those combos that he threw, the speed at which that last combo and how he took Moicano out, are you kidding me? Yeah. That was like me blinking and then he threw 3 punches.
Boom, boom,
that
boom.
was it.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous to see. Ridiculous.
Yeah, he had a huge knockout of Mark Jacasey last time. This time, he just seemed to, just be so incredibly world-class striking, as you said. Just, wow, it just blew me away how great he was. He got $50K for that win. That's his, he has a 5-fight winning streak, and he's 9-1 in the UFC, 6 KOs. Looking fantastic in that division. And it was a big win, and I think he's going to get some really game opponents coming up. The featherweight fight between Gavin Tucker and Billy Quarantilo was really great, and Gavin Tucker, one of Canada's best fighters, really looked super impressive. I really liked his quick strikes. He threw a lot of really crisp straight punches. and looked fantastic in taking the decision win over Quarantilo.
Quarantilo is kind of like Bisping in a way where he uses his endurance and his superior stamina as a weapon to just wear you down. And then with the way that he fights, he makes a fight dirty, where Tucker prefers a cleaner fight, where he has distance and he can just pick you apart. But even though Quarantilo was trying to make it into a grimy type fight, didn't matter. Tucker's technical aspect to his game was so on point that he just was able to always subtly manipulate the fight to his advantage at every turn, at every point. Yeah. Probably the best I've ever seen him fight. Represents Canada to a ridiculous degree. He is one of our best prospects coming out of this country. He showed it tonight. It was a very excellent, dominant win. And also, too, he was able to keep pace with a guy that had ridiculous cardio as well. On top of all of that, great win by Tucker.
Yeah. He's so, he's so thick. He's so muscular that you thought maybe he might gas with Quarantilo's cardio, but no, he was able to break Quarantilo's 8-fight win streak. He was superior in the striking. He was able to keep the fight at a bit of a distance where he wanted to. And as I said, his straight shots were just finding the mark. So good. He's an incredible tactician and great movement. And I loved the way he transitioned to takedowns. He got 7 takedowns in the fight. Wow. The Halifax native has really just got so much better over the last couple of years. And I think the sky's the limit for him in that featherweight division.
Oh yeah, I think he's well on his way to going all the way to the top. I don't know who his next opponent should be, but I'm guessing it's got to be somebody in the top 10, because that was an impressive victory by Tucker.
Yeah, they were supposed to fight a few months back. COVID ended up rearing its ugly head and postponing it. And Tucker had his head down, got into camp, and was in camp waiting for Quarantilo for months and months and months. And it looked incredible. I loved it. Great to see Canadian doing so well. And we've got one more Canadian coming next week in Hakeem Dawodu. And it's great to see so many good Canadians having good performances. Start off the prelims was this women's strawweight fight. When I went to the UFC in Vancouver, it was Demetrius Johnson fought one of the Russian guys and had a really great performance. I was sitting cage side, and right in front of me was Tisha Torres sitting with Matt Hughes, and got a chance to chat with him a little bit. And I've always really thought Tisha has an opportunity to be a really top-level fighter if she can just focus so much of her attention on it. And she looked really, really super impressive against Sam Hughes, who was a late replacement for Angela Hill, who had to pull out. But Torres just blasted through her and was able to win when Hughes ended up saying that she couldn't see out of her one eye.
Yeah, you know what? It didn't matter, to be honest with you. Like, Torres's speed advantage was so over the top that Hughes couldn't even really respond to it, And she buzzsawed right through Hughes. Maybe that was probably for the best. I'm going to actually say this. It was probably for the best that her eye, she couldn't see through it, because she was just going to get beaten up even more so in rounds 2 and 3. There was no way that Hughes had any shot of beating Torres on this particular night. She looked fantastic. Utterly dominant.
Yeah, that's a tough couple, her and Raquel Pennington. 2 tough girls, and Tisha Torres looked better than I've ever seen her look before. Just was a masterful performance by her. And a great way to start off the prelims. They had an early prelim fight. I caught most of it. Chase Hooper, Peter Barrett. Chase Hooper looks like he's 16 years old. One of the youngest guys on the roster. Doesn't look like he could beat up anybody, but ended up getting a submission win in the 3rd round. And he's learning on the fly. He's been in mixed martial arts for a long time. But yeah, like I said, he looks like a young teenage kid.
Yeah,
I don't think many people would be afraid of him, but keeps racking up the wins, 10-1-1 in his career.
yeah. He looks like, I just got out of high school. It's really great. It's great to be here. And he has that kind of attitude too. So it was cool to see him in there, cool to see him in the UFC, and cool to see him get that win. That's a nice submission win too at that.
It was fun, yeah. Thank you, UFC, for putting on such an amazing card to end the year. We've got one fight night left, Saturday coming up, and the main event will be Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fighting Jeff Neal. Wonderboy's 15-4-1, Jeff Neal's 13-2. I think this is going to be a great battle. Wonderboy has had a few hiccups in the last couple of years, but an amazing striker. And Jeff Neal's a tough opponent. I think this is going to be a good fight.
It's going to be a very good fight because it's going to be a fight of who can dictate on the other fighter on how they fight. Like it's going to be one of those because Wonderboy would prefer to have distance and just literally pick you apart, point fight you. And Neal wants to just take your freaking head off. Yep. Period. So it's good. It's going to be a very interesting fight, and I can't wait to see it.
The co-main has Jose Aldo, legendary bantamweight fighter, fighting Marlon Vera. Should be another fantastic battle. The welterweight fight between Michelle Pereira and Kaylin Williams, Chaos Williams, should be fun. Pereira's that guy that we saw here in Vancouver doing all the crazy flips and moves in the cage and stuff like that. And Tristan Connolly ended up, battling him and crushing him for a big win. Pereira doesn't seem like he's slowing down with any of the antics and all the dance moves that he likes bringing on. But maybe Chaos Williams can finally shut him up and make him just fight like a really mixed martial arts fighter.
He should actually, because that guy's no joke. And his power is no joke. So if he wants to do all that nonsensical stuff, he's probably going to be going to sleep very, very, very quickly.
Yeah, this Chaos Williams is a lot of fun. We've got Marlon Moraes facing Rob Font, Marcin Tybura facing Greg Hardy in a heavyweight fight. There's a women's flyweight fight. Canadian Jillian Robertson's fighting Taylor Santos. Anthony Showtime Pettis is fighting Alexa Morono. And on the prelims, we've got Bilal Muhammad, remember the name, against Diego Lima. Sajara Eubanks fighting. We've got Robertson. We've got, it's an amazing card. Very, very stacked. Tons of fights on the card to end 2020 in a great way. It's a stacked card. It's a great card. And you got some really interesting combinations and fights in that card, especially Diego Lima, because I believe he hasn't fought for a long time. And I want to say, is he a new signing, Diego Lima? Yeah, because he was not a UFC fighter before, right? Right,
yeah. So anyways, I'm looking forward to the fight. I really am. I'm looking forward to all the fights. And I don't know if it's going to be as good as this one, but I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to break it down with you next week. I'm looking forward to, I guess it'll be good to have a break. You and I haven't had a break on the UFC in a very, very long time. Once COVID hiatus was done, we've had fights every single weekend all the way through. And but I'm sure it'll be really fun to break down, and then we'll get a break into January. I guess everybody's talking about the big Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier fight in January. That seems to be getting the most interest.
Yeah, well, Joe Rogan has said that from his social media that it looks like Conor's actually taking it seriously. And I'm like, wow, guys, he's worth like 9 figures, Joe. I don't know. Hopefully, I guess we'll find out. Because if there's one thing that one guy's taking it very seriously, it's Dustin Poirier. That guy's coming to crack you. And Conor McGregor, you're going to have to take that pretty seriously, buddy, or else you're just going to get really, really hurt there. So exactly. I would imagine that he's not taking this lightly, and it should be a great fight coming forward in February.
Yeah. I had a fantastic podcast that I did yesterday. I haven't posted the episode yet. I need to edit it a bit, but I had legendary BC boxer Dale Walters as my guest. Dale is Hall of Famer. He's was in the Olympics. Had some of the biggest fights ever in BC history, and it was a really fantastic conversation. Definitely watch it when I post it this week.
Oh yeah, man. I'll be tuning in, and so should everybody else. That's awesome that you were able to get him.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
Really fantastic. Yeah, I'm excited. It was a lot of fun. We had an amazingly great long conversation, and yeah, we had a lot of fun. So I'm sure you're gonna love it. Yeah, well, we've reached the end of the episode. I don't have a score. I think it's still scoreless in this Sunday nighter, so you'll be able to get to it and watch the rest of it. Enjoy the Sunday nighter, rest of your night. Enjoy the Monday nighter, and have a good week ahead. Last week of work, and we're on holiday, so enjoy it.
Yeah, I will definitely enjoy it, and I'm definitely looking forward to my Christmas break for sure. As I know you are, my friend.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Okay, buddy. All the best. Thanks so much again. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Take care. Bye for now. Okay. Well, another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast has come to a close. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. A lot of great NFL, some NBA. We've got some preseason NBA. We got NBA season back almost here. And then UFC, amazing card. UFC 256 is something that, yeah, I think a lot of us are going to remember for a really long time. So thanks again for tuning in. Make sure you go to our website and podcast platforms, YouTube, that type of thing. Love you lots. Take care of yourself. Have a really fantastic week. Happy holidays to anybody that I don't see before the break. And yeah, we will talk soon. Love you lots. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.